What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? Welcome to the Six-Man Show Postgame Live presented by Thrivent. Jonathan here. Whatever you do, don't look at the score. Don't look at the ticker at the bottom. I know it's wrong. I know we're late getting started. I apologize. I am in a mood tonight. I am charged up. So I'm going to warn you, if you come at me in the wrong way in the chat tonight, I'm going to be a little spicy. So I apologize in advance. Your Orlando Magic, they did not lose 125 to 120 tonight. What was it? 112 to 103. Your Orlando Magic lose on the road to the San Antonio Spurs. We're going to go ahead and fix this on the fly here while I sit here and talk to you all. Man, a lot of reasons for the loss tonight. We are going to go through all of them, go through and talk through them. I did promise you all an explanation if you were here early in the chat for the reason for the tardiness. Kevin was supposed to be on the postgame live tonight. This postgame live was supposed to be 5 hours ago. Kevin has been super duper busy with work, with his day job, and he's got a crazy day tomorrow, so he needed me to step in. But as you know, I got to go through, the post-game hit that we do, after every single one of these games, get all of those uploaded to the multiple social media sites, all that kind of stuff, because we got to keep the lights on after all. And as we speak, I'm actually still here posting the last one that needs to go up to YouTube. So we're going to do that. Okay. I know we've got some super chats. I know we've got a ton of chats to get through. I hope everybody's as angry as I am. This is a family show. I'm going to try to keep it a family show. I am so infuriated over this loss for multiple reasons. But to me, the most inexcusable and just dumbfounding reason for the Magic to lose this game is the fact that NBA officiating is so consistently bad, at least for games that the Magic play. And Tom Haberstroh, I believe it was a few years ago, he did like an entire case study essentially, and he found that at least in that point of time that he did his study, that the Magic on average were assigned the refs with the least amount of experience when compared to every other team in the NBA. And when you watch these games, it seems like that is probably still mostly the case because the officiating is so absolutely garbage. The only thing consistent about NBA officiating, at least in Magic games, is how bad it is. I don't care if you're swallowing the whistle on one end as long as you swallow it on the other. I don't care that you're making bad calls on one end as long as you're making bad calls on the other. And tonight, that was not the case. The Magic shot 17 fewer free throws than the San Antonio Spurs. When they shot, the Magic shot one more three-point attempt than the San Antonio Spurs, and they had 2 less turnovers. Some people will say, oh, well, it's because they had more possessions, they were more aggressive getting to the rim. No. That was not the case tonight. The case tonight was Victor Wembanyama. You cannot breathe on him if you're defending him. However, he's allowed to drop his shoulder and throw all 65 pounds of his stick figure frame into the defender to try to create space so he can just jump over the top of you and lay it in or dunk the ball or whatever the case may be is. Look, freezing cold take me 5 years from now. I'm not a Wemby guy. I think his demeanor kind of sucks. I don't like his attitude. And offensively, I don't see this like all-time great kind of guy. Defensively, sure. Defensively, he's fantastic, right? He's one of the greatest defenders of all time. You can see that, right? Just his raw physical ability, the way that he's able to anticipate shots and get to them and block them, alter them, and all that kind of stuff. The other side of the ball, I don't see this all-time great that people are talking about. I just don't. And I think he's annoying. Don't really care for him. Just don't. That's just me. On the other side, officiating, throw that to the side. Paolo Banchero, Desmond Bane, only starters that showed up tonight. Wendell Carter Jr. was bad from the tip. Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, all those guys bad from the tip. Wendell got into foul trouble early on, had to come out of the game. Jamal Mosley goes to a lineup, I believe it was Jalen Desmond, Tristan Da Silva, Noah Penda, and Jonathan Isaac, and those guys brought the Magic all the way back in this game. And then we do see a bit more Jonathan Isaac in the second half, is helping the Magic stay in the game. Wendell Carter Jr. comes in, I believe, a few minutes into the fourth quarter. J.I. sits the rest of the game, and Wendell just did not have it whatsoever tonight. I didn't agree with that particular decision from Jamal Mosley. But credit to Jamal for finding that lineup that helped them get back into the game. He went back to it a little bit in the second half, but I feel like he should have stuck with it a lot longer than he did in that second half, because Wendell especially hurt you all night. So did Anthony Black. So did Jalen Suggs. The bench was good. Tristan Da Silva, very good. Jonathan Isaac, one of his best games of the year. I might have mentioned Tristan, really good. Noah Penda was really good. Tyus Jones, we all know the story there. Okay, really quickly, because we are kind of combining. We're not going to have our usual podcast episode, so please forgive me. We do have a few minutes of housekeeping. I'm going to try to go through this pretty quickly here, and I'm sure our wonderful sponsors will understand given the circumstances. So first of all, this is the Six Man Show Postgame Live presented by Thrivent, and specifically by Marc Abraham and the Abraham family. Marc Abraham is a financial advisor with Thrivent. He's also a die-hard Magic fan. He's a season ticket holder, sits in Section 118 every single home game. Marc specializes in retirement planning, budgeting, saving, debt elimination, so much more. If you're looking to be wise with your money, you want someone to help you on that journey, especially this time of year, tax return, all that kind of stuff, give Marc a call, 407-366-4364. Check out his website, email address in the description below. Big shout out to Marc and Thrivent for sponsoring the Postgame Live. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. And I'm still trying to get over this flu that we caught on the Europe trip. This episode and this Postgame Live are also brought to you by AJ Burst, Sir Sundown, Jared Cooper, Court Cousins, and Fritz. These are some of our Hall of Fame and elite tier patrons that went to patreon.com/the6manshow. Pick the tier that works best for them. We give a special shout out to our Hall of Fame and elite tier patrons each and every episode. So if you like what we do here, head on over to patreon.com/the6manshow, where for as little as $2 a month, you can support the show. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to our Discord community, which in my opinion is the best Magic community on the planet. So if you want to be part of a great community, talk to Magic fans about Magic basketball all day, every day, really recommend joining our Discord. This episode is also brought to you by the Posit Group. They're your home team on and off the court. They're your Orlando real estate resource of choice. 1,700 plus 5-star reviews. They're impacting lives through real estate. The Posit Group agents outsell their competition by 5 times, and they're in the top 1% of sales in the United States. So if you're in Central Florida, you're looking to buy or sell a home, hit up the Posit Group. You can find them at pozek.com, Pozek. Not only are they the official real estate sponsor of our show, but they're also the official real estate sponsor of your Orlando Magic. So a big shout out to the Posit Group. And then last but not least, not going to do the Jam Hot Chicken Jam of the Week this week, unfortunately, just due to time constraints. But a big shout out to Jam Hot Chicken, bringing jams, culture, and hot chicken to the heart of Winter Park. They're a Nashville and LA-inspired hot chicken shack, locally owned and operated in Winter Park and in Winter Garden, their new location there. Follow them at Jam Hot Chicken on all social media. And when you stop by, we have a code 6MAN, gets you 10% off every single meal at Jam Hot Chicken. So a big shout out to Jam Hot Chicken, to the Posit Group, to our patrons, and to Marc Abraham and Thrivent. Thank you all so much for bearing with me through this rant. As you can tell, very excitable right now. Let's go ahead and get to your chats, and we'll go to the super chats. We're going to say, so this is from Shine the Light 897. J.I. needs 30 plus minutes. Bad starts. Wonder why. J.I. Sorry, folks. And if you're listening on audio, I apologize for the coughs. Doing my best to get through this show here. I don't know if J.I. is capable of playing 30 minutes. We did see him play 17 minutes the other night in the last big win over the Raptors. Only plays, I think, like 14:49 tonight. So a little bit weird that he didn't get a little bit more time there. Appreciate the super chat. Magic Wired says 33 free throws to 17 free throws. Magic's first refs. I've already got into that, but we've got eCraft commenting on that as well. 3 problems. Number 1, worst refs all year. egregious. Completely agree. Number 2, terrible Wendell Carter game. Completely agree. Number 3, Mose not pulling Wendell Carter Jr. in the fourth quarter. Okay with this, L. Let's keep this intensity up for OKC. I'm not okay with the loss, but it's not bothering me quite as much as some of the more recent losses. You just can't give up a 40-point first quarter. You just can't do it. I get that you're like waiting around all day for this game. You don't even know what's going to happen, whatever. A little bit of a letdown with that, but you have to come out and get off to better starts. It's just not acceptable. It's really frustrating. Luis Rosario says Penda's great hustle play in the second quarter is what we needed from the starters. We looked atrocious in the first quarter. OKC is going to be a blowout. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Thank you for the super chat. E-Craft with another one. P5 good today, but wish he tried to take over more. I don't have a problem with Paolo's performance at all, given the fact that he probably should have had 7, 8 more free throws in this game. It was terrible all night long. Boogie B-Dub, thank you for the super chat, says, is this core good enough to win a championship? I don't know. Hopefully we're going to get the chance to figure that out if they could ever all be healthy for an extended period of time. E-Craft 4 also would have loved to see Mose go crazy on the refs, stand up for the guys, especially after the no call on Suggs drawing a charge. Yeah. That was one of the more egregious calls of the game, because I think it was a little bit later on. You had like the Desmond Bane hip check on Wemby in transition, which is just like a hard common foul, which ended up being a flagrant foul. And like Jalen Suggs like getting ran over, I believe ended up being a no call. It's definitely not a no call. If you want to call it a block, you're dead wrong, but call it something. Like there was just no whistle there whatsoever. It's terrible. Desmond Bane makes a layup early in the game and then gets, I don't know if it was Keldon Johnson or I forget who it was on the San Antonio side, but just gets flat out tripped underneath the basket and there's no call. So you can just trip a guy who's trying to get back on defense after a made basket and there's no call whatsoever. There was another like Jalen Suggs. He just gets absolutely clobbered. I think he makes the layup anyway, but gets absolutely clobbered. No call. Like I said, there's probably 4 to half a dozen Paolo Banchero plays tonight that could have ended up being fouls. Was just terrible. Thank you for the super chat. Thomas Cutler says, ignoring everything about the game that just happened, I've always wondered who exactly is the one tweeting on the account. Okay. As I try to get another cough drop here, which isn't really helping because there's so much going on. I don't even have enough time to swallow right now. Wow, that's one of the craziest things I've ever said on this show. Thomas, 99% of the time, it is me tweeting from the account. So hopefully you like the content. If not, that would be my fault because, yeah, it usually is me. Sea Bears, thank you all so much for the super chats. Sea Bear says, trade Wendell for Vooch, trying to speak it into existence. I don't know about that one. I love Vooch just as much as anybody. Vooch is going to be a free agent. It seems like this offseason could probably get him for a lot cheaper than giving up, Wendell Carter Jr. And if you do decide to trade Wendell Carter Jr., I think there's probably, better value than you can find, and you'd have to give up multiple pieces in a trade like that for Vooch. Okay. Once again, appreciate everybody's patience. I know this is one of the worst post-game lives of all time. I'm really sorry about my voice. Sorry about everything. Yeah, a lot of AOs in the chat here. Appreciate you all so much for hanging out here, sticking around, watching this with us. I know everybody's as upset about this loss as I am. If you're just joining late, don't look at the ticker at the bottom. I screwed it up. We've talked about it. We've addressed it. Hopefully we can all agree to just move on. I'm going to try to read through some of the chat here. Kevin says missed calls were astronomically bad tonight. Completely agree. Clement Lachat, I think. Give Penda and J.I. Wendell's minutes, at least tonight. Completely agree. Completely agree with that. Do you believe in says audio on intro music is skipping in and out? Sorry about that. Don't know exactly what happened with it. It was good on my end. Might have been something with the stream tonight, potentially. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of people asking for more Jonathan Isaac. Totally, completely agree. Luis Rosar says, no, this is not a championship team, only a playoff team. We need a few more players to get us to a championship level. Yeah, we definitely need more guys to step up and help on just a nightly basis. Like, you can't have 3 of your 5 starters just not show up. That's, team's just not going to be good. Just not going to happen. Let's see. Heck yeah says, I'm not that upset about tonight. To be honest, Spurs are good. This would have been good enough versus Memphis or Charlotte 2 weeks ago, but we didn't try. I agree. Most nights that effort is going to be good enough to win. But I really do think that, again, I'm not... The reason that you lost this game is because the poor start of the game, and also like most of the starters being really bad. But I think like right behind that is how bad the officiating was. It was like, okay, you're stuck in Charlotte. We're going to push this game back from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Oh, you can't make it. All right, well, we're going to make the game at 9 o'clock. You're basically just going to have to get off the plane and go straight to the game. But, if you guys agree to play this game anyways, John Goebel and Nate Green, and I forget the female ref's name. Yeah, but we'll just completely, make the whistle like one-sided. And then at the end of the game, now they're calling these little touch fouls when the game is basically decided. They're up by 13 with 3 minutes left, and now they start calling little touch fouls on jump shots. Like, to try to make the free throw discrepancy not look that bad. And Monty McCutcheon, who's like the senior vice president of like officiating and whatever the heck, he's at this game in his little bow tie, like watching this game, and I'm sure nothing will be done about the officiating because the NBA just for whatever reason just flat out does not care that the officiating, some nights they make the game borderline unwatchable. So bad. Kevin says, trade for Dylan Brooks. He's perfect for us. If we didn't have a guy like Desmond Bane, I do not think teams could handle us having Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane, Jonathan Isaac, and Mo Wagner all on the same team. I think that would cause a tear in like the space-time continuum or whatever the heck that's called. Okay. Let's see. Edison, a lot of people. I feel better. Usually I feel like I'm the only person complaining about officiating, and I know it's annoying to be that guy, but like I've been watching NBA basketball for 20 years, and the last 2-3 years especially, I just don't ever remember officiating being as consistently bad as it has been the last few years. Edison says, so apparently the refs thought game was still alive, meant whistle every borderline contact. Like, yeah, at the end of the game, it really did feel like that. Season is done. SE Beats 407 says season is done. I don't agree with that. The season's not done, but being able to achieve everything that we hoped this team could achieve, it does feel like you are getting into some pretty dangerous territory there. Let's see. Going through some more chats here, and then Ajury B says, I hope Franz is healthy for the next game. Yep, so do I. Okay, we are now going to go ahead and take a look at some of the box score stuff from this game. Let me go ahead and get that pulled up, and we'll talk about some of the things that I am complaining about here. There we go. Okay, let's go to the box score. First of all, Desmond Bane, awesome. Need to see the 3-point attempts get up there. I don't know why and how this right here is still possible. This should never happen. 2 3-point attempts. It should not happen. Jamal Mosley should fine Desmond Bane like $1,000 for every 3-point attempt he is below. I would say it should be at least 5 every single game. He should be averaging like 7, 8, but it should be a minimum of 5. So if he shoots 2, Jamal Mosley should fine him $3,000, right? And I know it's not Desmond Bane's fault. I'm not blaming it all on Desmond Bane, but I'm just saying, like, there needs to be something else done to force the issue to get Desmond Bane more three-point attempts. But he had 25 points tonight, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, 2 turnovers. You know, for as much as he had the ball in his hands, 2 turnovers, you'll live with that. Paolo Banchero, 19 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, 6 of 12, 1 of 1 from deep, 6 of 8 at the free throw line. Probably should have had 12 to 14 free throw attempts. The minus 30, this largely came in that first quarter when you can look at the entire starting lineup here. We're just getting the doors blown off. Desmond and Jalen's aren't quite as bad because they were part of that lineup with Tristan Da Silva, with Jonathan Isaac, with Noah Penda, who was a plus 23 tonight in 13 minutes. Jamal Mosley, if you're taking a look at that box score, you got to say this amount of impact in that amount of time, you need to find a way to get this guy closer to 20 minutes in a game like that. Wendell probably only needed to play like 10 minutes tonight. Was really, really bad. Really bad in this one. Tyus Jones, 9 minutes. 9 minutes of cardio. Out there doing a big bunch of nothing. What else is new? Mo Wagner was really good. 8 points, 3 of 6, 2 of 4 from deep. Helped the Magic kind of stay connected towards the early part of this game. He only plays 8 minutes. I don't really get that all that much. But Jamal Mosley again decided to go with the starters basically the entire fourth quarter. We don't have the quarter by quarter breakdown here, but I'm pretty sure those guys played like 10 minutes of the fourth quarter, so some of their minutes are a bit elevated. 13 to 15 for the Magic at the free throw line. Pretty good night, except when you go over and you take a look. They shot 32 free throws. 32 free throws. 29 three-point attempts to 30 three-point attempts. They somehow shot the ball worse from deep than the Magic. But, again, it's a top 3 reason. It might not be 3, it might not be 2, but it's a top 3 reason why the Magic lost this game tonight is because of how bad the officiating was. Just really frustrating. Wendell, 1 of 7, AB, 4 of 12, Jalen Suggs, 2 of 13. Just need more from your starters. Not good enough. Outside of those guys, like, let's see. Tristan, again, he was part of that unit. Didn't shoot the ball all that well tonight. 3 of 9. J.I., 4 of 6. Noah, 3 of 5. Goga, 2 of 2. Jace doesn't really count. But, like, you shoot 44% and 10 for 30 from deep. Most of that is from Wendell, Jalen, and Anthony Black. So you just needed a lot more out of those guys tonight. 41 bench points to 39. You won that battle. 13 turnovers. I think there's a discrepancy here between ESPN and NBA.com, which is not uncommon. That happens all the time, but we go ahead and we look at the stats there. Yeah, they've got 15 to 17 in turnovers. Just points in the... Look, I had some people saying like, oh, well, you got killed on the glass and... Excuse me. I'm trying to mute when I do that, but it's just not happening quickly enough. So I'm sorry for this being like the most annoying audio and post-game live of all time. But some people are like, oh, you got killed on the glass. Oh, points in the paint. You lost points in the paint, right? Well, yeah, they had the opportunity to get way more rebounds when our guys are getting fouled and hacked and missing shots because they're getting fouled and hacked. And then the other team has the ability to grab the rebound. And then, yeah, when you're not allowed to guard guys, you're not allowed to breathe on guys. Yeah, it's going to be easier for the other team to get to the rim and score points in the paint. So, again, I complain about the officiating being bad like most nights. I understand that. I hardly ever list it as a top reason of why you lost a game. Tonight, I genuinely do believe tonight it's a big reason why you lost the game. Let's go ahead now, take a look at the standings across the league where the Magic are now. The Magic are now 8th. They were 7th before this game. Now they're at a half game back of the Miami Heat. There's been a little bit of a difference in amount of games played, so that might even out. And the Heat destroyed the Bulls tonight, but that could end up swinging back, pretty quickly here. But the Magic have got to get things together. The schedule, folks, I know you all know, the schedule does not lighten up here. You've got Oklahoma City on Tuesday. It lightens up a little bit. Brooklyn, Utah, Milwaukee, Sacramento. But then Phoenix, Clippers, Lakers, Rockets, Pistons, the Wizards, whatever. So Magic have got to find a way to start stacking wins here. Haven't exactly been doing that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some games around the league, and then we'll get back to the chat before we wrap this one up. Celtics take care of the Bucks. A lot of blowouts in the NBA tonight. Get out of here, ad, with your dumb NBA app that hardly ever works. Pistons 130-77. Heat destroy the Bulls. Raptors beat the Jazz. Wizards beat the Kings. Knicks beat the Lakers. Clippers beat the Suns. Cavs beat the Blazers. Thunder beat the Nuggets. And like we mentioned, your Orlando Magic fall to the San Antonio Spurs. Let's go ahead and get back to the chat here. And then we got another super chat here. Let's go ahead and read that here. This is from Shine the Light. He says, if P5 does bring a chip to Orlando where other legends couldn't, does that make him an instant NBA Hall of Famer? I think if you win an NBA title as the best guy on the team, I'm trying to think of like when that has happened and the guy wasn't like a Hall of Famer. Like I just don't think that exists. So yeah, if Paolo ends up winning a title here, you build the statue, you put his jersey in the rafters. He's he's an NBA Hall of Famer at that point. Right now, unfortunately, it feels like we're a long ways off from that. Not because of Paolo, just because of the state of this team and the way that they are playing. Heck yeah, 03 says, Mose doesn't get Bane any open looks off of pin down screens or anything. I don't see Bane passing up open threes anymore. While yes, I would agree that Jamal could do more in the way of getting Desmond threes. Right, there are not like a lot of pin downs. We're not running like elevator screens for him and all that kind of stuff. At least not super frequently. But like teams do just like sell out on Desmond Bane. They're like, we're gonna do whatever we need to do to not let him shoot threes. He's been so good at finishing at the rim this year. They do call him the flyby king, right? Like he'll pump fake or hezzy and then like blow by guys. A lot of times he could just pump fake, take one dribble and raise up and shoot threes. I think he could probably get at least probably 2 more attempts a game if he would just settle a little bit more for that three there. Let's see. Brian Hurd said, based on data from the 2025-2026 NBA season, opponents are averaging approximately 25.7 free throw attempts per game against San Antonio Spurs. We weren't even close to average. Refs are trash. Yeah, refs were very, very bad tonight. Ty Tassel says, everyone keeps saying we need more players. We don't need more players. We need new coaching. We've had the same coaching philosophy for 3 years. Really for 4.5 seasons now with Jamal Mosley. I think it's a little bit of both. I do think there's a really good chance that this team just needs some new ideas offensively and a new voice to make them look at maybe a different way to play. But at the same time, like guys just need to step up and play a lot better. Like we're having too many games where it's like we've got 5 guys that play well, and then the other 4 to 5 guys, or sometimes 5, 6 guys that are out there are giving you nothing, and that's just not good enough. Luke Magic Mate says, thoughts on Paolo missing out on a bench spot for the All-Star game? I do think you can make the conversation for Paolo being an All-Star. I do think that even though he hasn't been necessarily quote-unquote bad, right, this season, the fact that he hasn't quite lived up to expectations from, a lot of people, including Magic fans, it does make it a little bit more difficult to make the case for him being an all-star. Now, the thing that really threw me was Pascal Siakam. The Pacers have 13 wins. Like, you've got to be averaging like 30 a game if you're going to be on a 13-win team and be an all-star. That, to me, is really just pathetic. Let's see. LYF Life, I think, maybe Life 2. Suggs last 5 games, 18 of 61, 29% from the field, 6 of 30 from 3, 20%. Yeah, his offense has not been good, especially since coming back from the injury, the last few games. I'm not panicking, but it's been tough. He's missed layups, he's missed a lot of open threes. We need more from Jalen right now, but again, missed a decent amount of time, is working his way back. I'm not panicking by any means. Brian Hurd 31, great to see you and Kevin in Berlin. My boy and I had a great time. Great to see you guys. So much fun. That trip was so much fun. Seabears 7899 says inconsistency has been the main killer this year. Yeah, whether it's shooting, whether it's defensive effort, energy to start games, like consistency has really been up and down. I think there's a lot to be said there. Okay, we're getting to the end of the chat here. Sorry, having to blow through a lot of this, and I know I rambled a lot on this one. I just very excited after this game. Luke Magic Mate says, agree, 13-win team shouldn't have an all-star. At that point, you're rewarding losing. Yeah, kind of. Califam, Tony Orlando, 34 blocks in the season. Wendell Carter Jr., 33 blocks. We need an answer at center against teams like this. So yeah, Wendell Carter Jr., this is the thing about Wendell. He's a fantastic defender. Jonathan Isaac really gets up, for these games against Wemby. I wish we would have seen the same out of Wendell. He really didn't seem to get up for this matchup in this one, just had a rough game. Has struggled recently. I think, by and large, has still had a very solid season. But the shooting has cooled off a little bit. And tonight he just really couldn't make anything. But the thing with Wendell is he's not really a shot blocker or like a rim protector necessarily in the classic sense, as much as he is a rim deterrent. Like a lot of times, like guys, like they see him and they don't necessarily want to drive on him. So Blazer RBT says might as well put in Alex Sars. The votes don't seem to matter much now. Well, I bless says Mo probably wasn't good defensively, but he should have been in place of Wendell at least a little more. Wendell seems out of rhythm, probably mostly because of foul trouble. Yeah, but Wendell has also been in foul trouble a lot this year. And I do think there is some where he just doesn't get the benefit of the doubt as some other guys and other defenders do. But there's also 2 to 3 times a game where he's so obviously beat. And he doesn't always get called for it, thankfully. But he'll just put his hand on the player that's going up for a layup, put his hand on their back or on their hip, and the refs, they're calling that more often than not. You just can't put yourself in those types of situations. Milio says, I've been behind on the stream, but I agree with everything said about the refs. Also, there's multiple times every game where refs wait to see if they miss before they call the foul to bail them out. Yeah, that drives me crazy. If it's a foul, call it. Don't wait to see the result of the shot. Just call the foul. But okay, folks, we are going to go ahead start the outro here. We got one more from Califam. Says shout out to Paul Porter calling an NHL game tonight. Yep, Lightning big comeback win over the Boston Bruins. That game was a lot of fun as well. We've got another game coming up on Tuesday versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Really, really need that win. Thank you, everybody, from tuning in, dealing with my voice. Appreciate it. Yeah, this has been the Postgame Live. Let's go Magic.